Greetings, medieval people. I am William Fitzstephen, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of pell work and practicing with the Dominus Gladius Warhammers that we just put together in the last video that I dropped. So here is the finished product. We've added some touches to it. I named both of the hammers. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see the full explanation as to how they got those names, but we sort of have a tradition here with all the weapons that I make, they get a name. And out here with me is my hanging pell, Judas, the hanging man. So if you follow me on Facebook, you've probably seen the hanging pell man. And I like this a lot because it's not just like a static stack of tires. You know, as you hit it, it moves and it kind of acts as a person fighting you would. Not exactly, because as we know, people are gonna move a lot differently than this guy. He's a little bit more predictable, right? If I kick him back, he's gonna go back and then I'll have another option. But it helps, I feel like, to be fighting something or training on something that moves. You know, he swings that way, he swings this way. More similar to somebody in armor I'm fighting is gonna move. You know, as we fight, we kind of swing and move around each other. So I think this helps my training a lot, and I may make a video on how I made it eventually if people want to know. But for now, this is doing me pretty well. And I was just out here for a little bit practicing with the Warhammer a little bit before I turned the camera on. And I gotta say, I like these things a lot. They are stout. I mean, it's loud. You guys probably can't hear it at the camera, but it's like echoing through the little neighborhood valley here that I live in. You can seriously wallop somebody with this hammerhead. The butt spike, or no, not the butt spike, the beak on the back here, the beak de Corbin, I like that too. It seems very potent, and I'm sure if you gapped somebody like in between armor plates, they would not be very happy. That would almost, I would say, be a substantial in EMP. So that's a lot of fun. And then just the thrusting tip, the fact that you can do kind of the combinations of it and just jab them in there right there in the face or the neck or whatever. It's a lot like an arming sword. I think in the way that I've been treating it, the only difference is instead of having a blade all the way up and down it, you've got just the hammerhead and the spike, but you can still thrust like you could with a single hand sword. And you don't have as much surface area to hit with is the other thing. But to me, I don't feel like it's as big of a deal because I do use like Dane axes and pole arms and stuff like that a lot, and I like that sort of thing. So I don't feel that, you know, as long as you're getting your timing and your spacing and your depth right, I don't feel it's that bad. The other difference between this and an arming sword is all the weight, or most of the weight, is going to be out here versus in the handle. And I forgot to put the butt spikes on it, but you could pummel strike people too with this thing, so that's cool. I know maybe not every league will allow you to do that, but in EMP we do, and harness spectin, obviously that's a thing you can do. So I'm just going to do a little bit of pell work. I'll let y'all kind of watch as I kind of work through this stuff. Trying to think. I think that's about it for the intro. Yeah, so let's get into it. Put my other glove on here. And a little caveat I will say is I was going to use my buckler, but my buckler is at the bottom of my armor trunk. I didn't feel like digging all that stuff out, but this is one of the shields we made here at Lords and Ladies. So if you guys want one like it, check us out online and you can order yours. We make historical arming shields and all sorts of stuff like that, and Lords and Ladies obviously is our #1 sponsor. So if you guys like the video, go check them out. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and order some shields if you want one. But yeah, so I'm doing arming sword, or I guess Warhammer, single hand weapon and shield tonight. But what I was going to say is arming sword and shield, or sword and board as a lot of people call it, is probably my personal least favorite fighting style to do. Maybe not my least favorite, but I'm not that good at it. I'm probably the worst at it out of all the styles that I do. So this is a little caveat here. I'm not an expert by any means. Just kind of fooling around here, getting some practice in. And my dogs are out here too. They like to hang out and play in the yard and wrestle while I do this sort of thing. So let's get after it. See that? This right here is why I love the hanging pell. Because as I'm beating the crap out of him, he's forcing me to move, right? This thing's swinging all over the place. And it allows me to miss some shots too, right? Because on a static target, like if I was just attacking this tree over here, I'd probably land every single hit. It's pretty easy on a static target. When you got something moving like this, it allows you to miss more than I'd like to admit. But that allows you training opportunity to learn, you know, in a controlled environment. What do you do when you miss, right? If you miss one of those shots, right, come back, do something else, you know. But if I'm just attacking this thing, boom, 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 get my 100 shots in, land every single one, okay, that's great. But what happens when you, oh, I missed? Come back with the butt spike, right? Shield bash, something like that. And so in that little segment, I've primarily been attacking with the hammer. It's just so stout and really, really freaking wallops. I love this thing. But I do want to play a little bit more with the butt spike, and play around with some hooking techniques and stuff like that. This is one thing I will say about this dummy. There are a couple spots you could hook on them, right down here to kind of represent the back of the knees, or right up here on the shoulders. That wasn't necessarily done intentionally, but I think that's bad practice. It's a little bit of a false sense of security, because obviously people aren't not going to have a pocket right here that you can stick that in and hook it. It's going to be more like hooking behind the head or something like that. And I just don't feel confident hooking this thing or doing this sort of hook training. I'm not sure how well it's going to translate into a real fight, but I think this would be fun to try out with some guys in armor and see about, you know, maybe hooking behind the shoulder, behind the neck, behind the knee, something like that would be kind of fun. Or even on a shield, you know what I mean? I may have to get him a shield at some point, maybe strap it over him with a gi or something like that, so that way I could practice hooking onto that shield and pulling or something like that. But I think I'm going to play with this little beak spike a little bit and just see how that feels. So right there, I did get hooked. That was unintentional, but I guess I kind of threw it. I don't know, I have to look back at the video. I don't know how I threw it exactly, but basically got caught right here on his neck. I couldn't get it out, so I just kind of resorted to shield punching him there. So I think this would work for sure. You could hook people with this. You could catch people off guard with that. And man, guys, I tell you, I'm not holding back at all with this thing. We're going all in, because Dominus Gladius very kindly sent me these for free to test out. So I'm going ham, and we're hitting as hard as we can. We're not babying these things. And I will do a full review on them in about 3 months or so, once I give them a real good torture test and just kind of like, you know, running through the ringer. But they're just so much fun, man. I feel like Henry V in the movie The King, when he's running into battle. Bam, 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 bam. Ah, ah. Man, it's so badass. I love this thing. So I'm going to keep practicing with it and keep playing around with it. Post some more updates here in the future. This is just a quick little video. Again, I'm not an expert by any means. I personally need to get better at sword and shield, or sword and board, and I guess in this case Warhammer and board. I don't know, something about this really piques my interest. This to me is a lot more fun than sword and shield. I don't know why, but it just is. So we're going to do a lot more testing and a lot more fighting with these things, and I'll post a lot more videos showing you guys what we're doing with them. But I think that's about it for this one. We'll just make it quick, you know. And if you guys got any suggestions for me, you know, as far as pell work or techniques for sword and shield and that sort of thing, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm trying to learn. I consider myself a student of medieval martial arts, right? You know, so we're always learning. If you stop learning, you're doing something wrong, the way I see it. So yeah, leave some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out our sponsor for more content like this and more medieval shields. Thank you guys.